One of the most fascinating things about the NBA is the concept of team building. Every team does this differently, and some markets have it easier than others. As I record this, the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers are on the verge of facing each other in the NBA Finals. These are two smaller market teams who aren't destination cities for free agents, but have both been creative in building contending teams. I'm going to take a deeper dive into how the Thunder and Pacers have constructed their rosters and how Paul George serves as a common link to the current success both franchises are having. The move that got the ball rolling for the Thunder dates all the way back to when they were the Seattle Supersonics. In the summer of 2007, Rashard Lewis was leaving the franchise on free agency for the Orlando Magic. A 6'10 player who could score from all three levels, Lewis was ahead of his time, but the Sonics, not wanting to lose him for nothing, did a sign and trade, receiving a 2009 second-round pick and a trade exception. Less than 2 weeks later, the Sonics dealt that trade exception and a future second-round pick to a Phoenix Suns team looking to win now in exchange for two future first-round picks. The first of those picks was the 20th pick of the 2008 draft, where they selected a player they stashed overseas for a year named Serge Ibaka. Ibaka became an essential player on the Thunder teams with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, where he developed into a big-time shot blocker who, at the time, provided the rare skill of being able to stretch the floor with his outside shooting. The night of the 2016 draft was still a few weeks before the Thunder learned that Kevin Durant would shock the basketball world by leaving for the Warriors in free agency, though they made a trade that set this domino effect in motion. By trading Ibaka, who was entering the last year of his contract, to the Orlando Magic in exchange for Victor Oladipo, Ersan Ilyasova, and Domantas Sabonis, who was the 11th pick of that draft. At the time, the Thunder might have made this move thinking Oladipo, who was also entering a contract year, could be the third option alongside Durant and Westbrook. Though when Durant left in free agency, Westbrook went on to have his historic MVP season, and the Thunder were left looking to add another star. In the summer of 2017, Paul George was one of the NBA's biggest stories. Already a four-time All-Star with the Pacers and one of the league's best two-way players, George said he'd play the final year of his contract in Indiana, but would be testing free agency. With that said, there were a lot of trade rumors involving George, as the Pacers wouldn't want to risk losing him for nothing. The Pacers traded him to the Thunder for the cost of, get this, Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis, essentially the return that the Thunder got for Serge Ibaka's expiring deal. The Thunder bet that pairing George with Westbrook and getting him ingrained in their culture could get him to commit to a long-term contract. This strategy worked, as George signed a 4-year extension with the Thunder that following summer. The next season was the best of George's career. He averaged a career-high 28 points per game, led the league in steals per game, and finished third in MVP voting while also being named first-team All-NBA. Though even with Westbrook, the season ended in a first-round exit on a series-clinching shot by Damian Lillard that's one of the most memorable in recent playoff history. Though in the 2019 offseason, the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes were underway. Fresh off leading the Toronto Raptors to a title, numerous teams were coveting Leonard, most notably the Lakers and Clippers. The Clippers were all in on Kawhi, but he would only commit to playing there if they could land another star. One player who fit that mold, and Kawhi was intrigued by, was George. The Clippers were able to land the duo, but landing George in a trade wasn't cheap. The Clippers dealt an intriguing young player named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 4 unprotected first-round picks, 1 protected first-rounder, and 2 pick swaps. The Thunder have gotten returns from this haul, and then some. Shai has emerged as one of the league's premier players in recent years, and this culminated in him recently being named the league's MVP as the Thunder went 68-14 this past regular season. The 2022 first-rounder that the Thunder got from the Clippers was used to select Jalen Williams, who has emerged as the Thunder's second leading scorer, is one of the NBA's best two-way players, and was named to both an All-NBA and All-Defensive team this season. Shortly after George was dealt, Westbrook was traded to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Chris Paul and various picks. Paul was only with the Thunder for a year, but they were still a playoff team, and Shai has credited the time the two played together as something that helped him grow as a professional. Though the Thunder could have more returns from this trade as soon as next year, as this past draft, They selected Nikola Topic, who many felt was one of the premier prospects in that draft class before tearing his ACL and could have more picks conveyed in the future. From there, the Thunder had your typical rebuilding seasons and landed the second overall pick in 2022, which turned into Chet Holmgren. They added some veterans to the current mix and still have a treasure chest of picks while looking to be a contender for the foreseeable future. The Pacers' timeline is much shorter, but Oladipo hit the ground running for the team in the 2018 season. He was named third team All-NBA, first team All-Defense, and was a huge reason why the Pacers took LeBron James and the Cavaliers to 7 games in the first round of the playoffs that year. Unfortunately, that following season, Oladipo, in the middle of another All-Star campaign, ruptured his quad and was never the same player in Indiana. The franchise eventually dealt him in 2021 in the huge trade that sent James Harden to the Nets, and the Pacers got Caris LeVert in return. After Oladipo went down, Domantas Sabonis emerged as an all-star in his own right, making 2 straight all-star appearances as a Pacer. Though the Pacers with their current core were peaking in the 4 to 5 seed range, and a franchise that was consistently competitive for 30 or so years was looking at the idea of a potential rebuild. That changed in February of 2022. It seemed small at the time, but the first move was trading Caris LeVert to a young Cavaliers team looking to make a playoff push for the cost of a 2022 second-round pick and a 2023 first-rounder. While the first-rounder resulted in Ben Shepherd, who gives the Pacers a serviceable wing, that 2022 second-round pick turned into Andrew Nembhard, who has been a vital part to the Pacers' success these past few seasons, and has emerged as a valuable starter who can play both guard spots while making an impact defensively. The following day, the Pacers made a trade that will be discussed for years in NBA circles. They traded their multi-time All-Star Sabonis and others in exchange for Tyrese Haliburton and Buddy Hield. At this point, Haliburton was in the middle of his second season and had played just 91 games alongside De'Aaron Fox. Though he had shown very intriguing flashes, and from a financial standpoint, it probably made more sense to build around the guard on the rookie contract. However, the Kings, who had gone over 15 years without making the playoffs, had other ideas. The Pacers realized what they had with Haliburton early, and this also changed the way they constructed a roster. Prior to Haliburton, the Pacers were a slower, more methodical team. With Tyrese at the helm, the Pacers wanted to rev up their engine. They made a point to add more versatility and athleticism immediately, as the following summer when they drafted Nembhard, they selected an athletic wing in Benedict Mathurin, and later traded Malcolm Brogdon for another young wing in Aaron Nesmith. The franchise the following summer, for the cost of 2 second-round picks, traded for Obi Toppin, and in the middle of last season, traded for Pascal Siakam, who not only fits what the Pacers were looking for, but signed a long-term extension with the team and has maintained his all-star level of play. While smaller market teams can face obstacles in team building, the Thunder and Pacers in these playoffs are both showing that success is possible. Paul George playing a role in how both of these teams got to this point is a remarkable coincidence, but both franchises did this in their own way. The Pacers never bottomed out, but they found a player to build around and have done a great job of adapting to them and finding talent to complement their strengths. The Thunder have had success in the draft thanks to their scouting department, but they also knew when to sell high on an all-star caliber player and had a clear plan in place to build around a young player they believed in. It's clearly paying off for both teams, as a potential finals matchup is on the horizon, and this can give hope to fans of various franchises, as this next era of the NBA figures to feature more parity than ever. If you made it this far, thank you, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on my in-depth analysis throughout the 2025 NBA playoffs.